So for the next question, someone was asking about the gear side of things when they were going out and wanting to invest in speakers and things. Should they go and buy a name brand? Electro Voice is one of our sponsors here. Do they go out and buy the Electro Voice Evolve 50? Or do they go and find something on Amazon? Because there's many type of mini array systems there that look somewhat like it or look like they could be similar to, and they're a lot cheaper. When someone has that kind of a question, where do you go with that? What are some of your thoughts to advise them? And I think, Dan, are you starting this one or is Cubby?
It's Cubby. It's Cubby first.
Cubby.
Oh, you guys know my theory on speakers with lights inside of them.
He loves them.
Yes. I would go ahead and invest in a name brand. I myself love the Electro Voice and EVs, but there are some other great brands out there that are a little lower price points. And maybe you don't have to buy the newer model. Maybe you start off with an older model that may have been refurbished. You can find some of those through Guitar Center or Sweetwater. Maybe Ben may have some refurbished one, but maybe you start with a refurbished, but maybe not the newest model. But try to stay with something that's familiar, not the things that have lights in the middle of them. And then invest, and research. Do your research, and like I said, try to invest. Because if they can't hear you, or if the sound is horrible, same with the microphone. The two major investments: microphone and speakers, because those are the ones that people got to be able to hear you clearly, distinctly, and you got to be able to reach your room. And I know we talked about 15, 12s. I would go with 15s because you can always bring it down so you can do the larger events. You can do the larger weddings with 15s. Where if you had a 12, you would limit yourself or maybe push them too hard or something. But that's just, again, one guy's opinion. And there's a lot of them to do, but I would look at a refurbished model and stick with name brands.
Dan, what are your thoughts?
So there's the adage, buy once, cry once, right? And that's what you'll hear from a lot of people, make the investment. It means you're going to be spending more on whatever, but as a result, when it's all said and done, that product, whatever it is, whether it's speakers, mics, lights, whatever, is going to last you a lot longer, more often than not, than the stuff that you get on Amazon. I will say, when I was starting out, it was very hard. And I still remember my first backup speakers were something I got from PSSL, I think was the Pro Sound, like out in California. They had bought like a ton of these knockoffs of some store, and they like unloaded them, and I got like 2 speakers for $300, and they were my backups, but they sounded like crap. But I had backups. But what I would recommend is definitely staying away from the Amazon idea. If you're on a budget, most of the professional lines have different levels, right? You don't have to buy the ETX, right? You could buy the ZLX or the EKX or those kind of things, and step yourself down to something that might be in your price budget, regardless of the line that you look at. I think that's going to be your better option. You have the backing, you have the research. These are people that support the industry. And then I'm going to make the one comment that sometimes gets overlooked, but it's one of the funniest things, I think, when it comes to DJs. We want our couples to spend as much as possible on us when they're buying our services, but yet we turn around and try and find the cheapest amount of gear that we can, right? I'm not saying that you have to go out and buy the Cadillac of speakers, but in the same respect, like if you're expecting your clients to spend on you, should be willing to spend on yourself.
And going back to that, we don't have a monthly investment. You know what I'm saying? Except for maybe subscriptions. When you buy your equipment, my EV Evolves, I bought the first BlackBerry when they first came out. It's last me, 6 years now? How long have they been out? Now I got white ones because it matches my system better. But you're not buying equipment over and over and over again, weekly, monthly, yearly even, unless you do something to them. So you're not going into that major investment. You buy it, take care of it, bag it up, take great care of it. It's gonna support you for a really, really long time. That you don't have to. Other businesses have food and produce and something that rots, and we don't have that. We've got all of our equipment. We could use it for a good 5-6 years. We have to refurb it or change it.
So I'd like to add one side of it is I think there are times for you to go buy that speaker from Amazon. that time that you're looking for a inexpensive disposable speaker, and you're really not caring, you've got one event that you're going to use it for, and you really don't care if it gets wet and dies, if it gets blown up, or if it sounds the greatest. You just need something to make sound. I think there are legitimate times where an inexpensive whatever could function. I think you could probably find something better maybe but there are times. The biggest difference that you see between an array type system that's on Amazon from a direct from Chinese seller and the Electro Voice, the Evolve 50s, is going to be talking about the warranty and the longevity and the components that are put in there and how they're designed to be used on a regular basis. The Evolve 50s or the Everse 8s, these things are meant to be used at a functional volume level. Many of these little systems that we see these at NAMM, we were seeing these at NAMM and reporting on them 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and they were interesting looking, but when they're running a little like 22 gauge wire from the sub to the tops, and there's 4 tops up there, these 4 little, that's not much for wiring. And yes, that you don't need a ton of wire to carry signals, but they're not anticipating these things being pushed very hard. They're not designing them to be pushed very hard because they're disposable. So if you're looking for that, there's a place for you to find that. If you're going to be doing this, go back to Dan's buy once and cry once and be good. Okay, I think there's one more that I want to hit. We're going to do our last question, and then after this, Howie's gone tonight, so we're going to be going DJNTV.com/chill. We'll be going to that, and we're going to be doing a show tonight, and Brian's going to be there. So, Brian, I've got a topic that I want you and I to hit tonight. So, if you can hang with me, we'll do that one with the Hanging with Howie tonight. We'll be back with our next question.